Hey everybody, it's freezing cold out and I have cabin fever here in Pennsylvania, so I'm going to go to my favorite closest county park called Wolf's Hollow, and it's in Glen, Pennsylvania, and I'm going to take a hike. I'm going to take you with me, and if I think of any lessons along the way, I'll be telling you what the lessons are. Stay tuned. My first lesson is that there is no shame if you do not have a good sense of direction. I have a horrible sense of direction, and I use Google Maps even to go to places that I've been to a million times. Literally, people make fun of me for using Google Maps to get home, for instance, from, places that I've been a million times. So I'm done with shame. I'm done with people who shame me. I am who I am. I have no sense of direction. I'm going to use the tools available to me, and I'm not going to feel ashamed about it. The second lesson is about driving while you're videotaping for YouTube. It's very distracting, and it's probably very illegal. I only do it when I'm very safe, and I don't recommend it to anyone. If you are not a careful driver, especially if you are prone to having little fender benders and accidents, I strongly recommend that you don't try to videotape while you drive. I'm taking a chance by doing it, but at the same time, cross fingers, knock wood, I haven't had an accident in years, so I'm doing it only when I feel like there's no one around on the road. I can't possibly run into them by mistake by being distracted. It's still not a good practice though. The other lesson is that you can see I'm wearing a goofy combination of outdoor clothing, and again, I don't care. Everything that I wear is very functional, and I have to get over, I'm still struggling a little bit with vanity and feeling how I feel about people, how they judge my appearance. I no longer wear makeup, I no longer cut or style my hair, I don't bathe very often, I don't smell. I do make sure that I have hygiene, I just don't take a shower very often, and that's by choice. And but I'm still self-conscious, and as a person growing up, having been, I guess, inculcated into this culture where you take a shower every day and everyone smells really perfumey, and even our clothes smell perfumey from laundry detergent, etc. I don't smell bad, I just smell like me, and it's hard not to feel self-conscious even though I'm very comfortable in that decision. So a lot of van lifers, we don't bathe very often, and I think that's something that if you are too self-conscious and don't think you can get over, you're probably not going to be a very good or happy van lifer. But as far as what I'm wearing, the hat has ear flaps so I stay warm. The scarf protects my neck. The coat is a puffy coat. It's very, very warm. I love this coat. And I don't care that they don't match in color and in pattern because they're functional to me. So that's just who I am. And this is where I live, in the heartland of Amish country. You can see we just passed an Amish buggy, and you can see all the beautiful farms in Chester County, Pennsylvania. This is one of the most beautiful places, I think, in the country. I haven't visited every place in the country yet, but it would be hard for another area to surpass the beauty of this area, in my opinion. So in Chester County, the Amish worship and we have arrived. Now, although I can't find my way to the park that I've been to a million times while driving without using my GPS, actually this time I did come straight here without my GPS, but most places I can't find on my own. I do know these trails, I've done them enough, and so I am not bringing a trail map with me. It's a very small county park, very few trails. However, I do recommend, if you are getting used to a park or just getting to know it, definitely always bring a trail map with you. For this particular park, I have a trail map in my glove box for that very reason, so I never forget to bring it. But I think I've done this set of trails enough to know exactly my way around. The trails are nice and clear of the fallen leaves, the dead leaves, which makes it really easy to hike on, because in Pennsylvania, a lot of the trails that we have a lot of roots and stones that stick up. And when I was hiking earlier in the fall, there was so much leaf cover that you couldn't see what you were walking on, and it's very easy to twist your ankle. So I had to tighten my hiking boots really tight so that if I did twist my ankle, I wouldn't get injured and not be able to make it back to my car. But fall hiking is really nice. You hear the sound of the rustling leaves as you walk through them with your boots, but this is even better because the trail is absolutely clear. Of course, you can see how vast the land is that you're hiking through. If the hiking path is slanted to one side or another, I always try to go on the uppermost side, because I find that the downward side tends to have more water and you can get a little muddier that way. I'm going to pick up at least one leaf that I'm not familiar with to take back home so I can look it up in my tree book. I don't want to carry a tree book in my backpack on such a short hike. I do carry a little bit of first aid. I carry a camel of water, and it doesn't have to be full when it's such a short hike. It's only going to take me 2 hours to get around this circuit. But I pare down my first aid kit that I take when I go camping, and I remove everything except for a big ace bandage in case I do sprain my ankle. I can ace bandage it up really tightly so I can get back to my car. And a painkiller, like Tylenol, in case I get a headache or sprain my ankle, and then need to take a painkiller right away to reduce the inflammation. Everything else, I leave at home. It's too much to carry. It's too much weight, and I find that eventually my neck really bothers me if I'm carrying my full camel full of first aid. Well, I do bring 2 baby wipes in a sandwich bag. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I just went down this hill. As you can tell how much elevation that was. Probably not, but it's pretty steep. So I carry the sandwich bag of 2 baby wipes in case I have an emergency bathroom issue and can't get clean in the woods. When I get the slightest bit warm, overly warm, uncomfortably warm, before I start sweating, I take off parts of my clothing that will help me cool down. My hat, my gloves, my scarf, and just shove them in pockets. Because once you start getting so warm that you're sweating once you stop hiking, that sweat is going to freeze in the freezing temperatures and you're going to be really cold. So best tip or trick is never wear any kind of wet clothing whatsoever, and always make sure you don't sweat in it. Take off as many layers as you need to not get that hot. My puffy coat comes with zippered pockets so I never lose any of my gloves or scarf. It looks really silly to have a big scarf bulging out of your puffy jacket, but I'm not here to impress anybody. I'm here to be comfortable and have a beautiful hike, which it's been so far. It's gorgeous out here. And I don't care what people think if they see a big bulge in my pocket. I'm doing what I need to do to take care of myself. Self-care is important, and I think in the American culture, women are not taught to do self-care. They're taught to care for others. And as a result, I think a lot of times we don't know how to take care of ourselves when we're on our own, or when we're just tired of taking care of others. And it's a shame that our culture doesn't teach us to do that all along. And if it did, we probably wouldn't wind up with the resentments that we have, and perhaps not the divorce rate either. And for those who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas, everybody. This looks like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Okay, so I'm warm enough now that the hat, the gloves, and the scarf are off. And if I still get warm, what do? Well, I don't want to take off my big puffy jacket and carry it. I could strap it potentially to my camel, but that makes it feel like it's pulling down on my neck and my back. It's uncomfortable. But what you can do is unzip a little bit, take one arm out, let it hang. My coat's not too long that it'll hang on the ground, and just leave one arm out, and that cools off part of your body, one half of your upper torso, and usually that's enough to get you through the hike comfortable without having to carry your puffy coat in an awkward position. You're along on a rocky Pennsylvania County Park path, and you're able to avoid stepping on these stones that are sticking up that you could potentially twist your ankle on. And then all of a sudden you come to a patch that's completely covered with leaves. Look at this jutting out. But you don't know what's under the leaves, so you just have to be careful. In my coat, I always carry a little pack of Kleenex because whenever I hike in the cold, my nose runs. When a path has lots of roots, try not to step on the roots. Number one, it's easy to twist your ankle on them. And number two, it's not good for the trees. It's always best practice to make sure you know how complicated a trail is before you get on it. Unfortunately, trail markers, as far as I know, or blazes, don't indicate the difficulty unless you have the map with the key. I wish that they would standardize them throughout the country so that a certain color meant that it was hard and a certain color meant that it was easy, kind of like for snow slopes, ski slopes. But it's not that way as far as I can tell, at least not in the county parks or even compared to the state parks that I've been in. I've been over this trail before, so I know that none of these stones are loose. But that's something, if you're going over it for the first time, you would want to check whether they were loose or not before you stepped on them and put your entire weight on them. Half in, half out of my coat. So guys, I hope you found this set of tips and tricks useful. I hope you got something out of it. If you learned something new, feel free to tell me in the comments. If I made a mistake or said something incorrect, feel free to tell me in the comments. I would like this channel to be a little bit more of a conversation than just one-sided. So if you have anything that you want to talk about, please feel free to reach out in the comments and I'll get back to you. I'm nearing the end of my hike. It was a beautiful day. It's still a little above freezing. I had to put my coat and gloves, not my coat, well, yeah, my coat, my gloves, and my hat back on. I'm approaching my car, so just remember, put aside your fears that are not the kinds of fears that keep you safe. If you're afraid to go out and take a hike by yourself, because you might get hurt or something bad might happen, another person might attack you, think about the statistics of when that happens, how often that happens. Not very often. Take a chance on yourself. Get out and do something. Really live your life. Don't live in fear. Don't take unreasonable chances. Those fears are meant to keep you safe, but so many of our fears are unfounded in the statistics of how often they actually happen. So take a look at the statistics, learn from the experiences of your friends and family, and if it's not a real risk, go out and take that risk of walking by yourself, hiking, going on a trip by yourself, whatever that risk happens to be for you, and get out and live life. I'll see you next time. Bye.